Get my 6. I know, I hear you. OMG, Crazy Lake, are you actually squatching from inside your truck today? Just at the beginning, because there's a light rain out here. It's getting ready to come a real heavy storm. We're going to go out in it and look for him, her, it, or they, despite the weather. But I'm starting inside the truck because I have my laptop in here. I'm going to read you something from a government official of 40 years, now retired, who believes they know what we have going on out here. This was sent to me several months ago, and I kept it. I never read it because there's a word he uses in here that is not part of my vocabulary. I don't use this word, and I won't use it today because I don't want to dignify the word. It's a very derogatory word used to describe people who face challenges, be they physical, be they... Here comes the rain. But I'll get to that word. I'm going to skip it. It starts with an R. You'll be able to figure out what it means. You know, the thing that kills me about so many of these free speech people is they view, you know, the right to having free speech as being the right to be an a-hole and to be insensitive. What is it? I heard it said recently, there's a difference between hate speech and speech that you hate. I agree with that completely. And you do have the right to be an a-hole. Oh no, I'm getting soaked. But I'm not going to be one. I feel blessed to have been born with 10 toes, 10 fingers, and all these things. And I'm not going to be derogatory towards people that don't laugh and snicker about it. So that's just where I stand. But government, wow. People have been on my mind today because I've just spent an hour on the phone with the wonderful people at the IRS. And the guy I spoke with really was a wonderful person. They're wonderful people. Listen, I'm not a CPA. I'm not going to give you tax advice, but I will give you advice based upon my experience with dealing with the IRS. If you have an issue, contact them. Stay in touch. Be responsible. Man up or woman up and do what you can. Because if they know you're doing those things and you're staying in contact with them, they will bend over backwards to work with you. They have me. I said recently in a video I just paid my taxes. Yeah, I did. I just paid them for like the last year. I had a really, really big years ago, a few years back, followed by 2 really, really bad years. So I still have some lingering issues there, and people are like, oh, listen, I'm not being specific. I'm not going to give you dollar amounts or whatever. What I will tell you is that the folks at the IRS, the hardest part is getting in touch with them. It takes you an hour to reach them on the phone, but once you reach them, they work with you, man. They're not going to come take your firstborn child. Okay, but I was dealing with this wonderful gentleman, this government official at the IRS, just reminded me of this message I got from this retired government official of 40 years. And something else happened last week, and this all ties together. Hang in there, brah. And keep getting my 6. Make sure nothing sneaks up on us here and comes at the window. I mean, wouldn't this be perfect jump scare opportunity for him, her, it, or they? It's happened. I mean, not to me, but you hear people saying that, you know, potentially Bigfoot Sasquatches just come smacking at the car windows. I mean, anything's possible, right? I'm starting to scare myself here. All right, so let me read you the letter. Let me get on with this first. It says, as a veteran of the paranormal and now retired from service of 40 years United States government, I can tell you what it is, that being this thing that may or may not be in the woods behind my house. However, some of your viewers might not like the answer. With that out of the way and said, here we go. It is a memory from long ago, still strong, popping up from time to time, floating out there, fading in and out of this realm. It might have originated from another dimension, and maybe not, hard to tell, But judging from the motion of movement of the thing back here, I would say yes, from somewhere else for sure. It most likely fell into a portal or slipped through an opening or a tear or a rip in the fabric of space-time. There are 11 dimensions. In those, we have what is called streets in each one, fanning out to more side streets. This guy's talking about like a multiverse. 40 years government official. Some people say there's a lot of stuff out there that we're not supposed to know about. Is this letter potentially evidence of that? Like this crazy weather that happens here at my place that I've never experienced anywhere else. Let me continue. You notice how it started pouring the rain down, like hoping I wouldn't read this letter, but then I start reading the letter and they're like, well, he's going to read it anyway. Let's make the rain stop. All right, let me keep reading it. Okay, there are 11 dimensions, and those we have, it's what is called side streets, and each one fanning out to more side streets. It could have come from any of them. It looks harmless, but some are not. They seek negative energy and will attach themselves to you against your will. In some cases, they will take you back with them to feed off of and for their offspring until you're dead, which takes a week or less. He's making a claim here. Says, we have trapped a few over the years and communicated with them. It does not think it is doing any harm. It is only trying to feed its young. No feed, it will evaporate. If it doesn't feed, it will evaporate into nothing. Your dog man, this was his job guarding these openings. They went on strike or just plain quit, all of them worldwide. The biggest threat to humans is inbred Sasquatch. You will know the difference right away. Trust me. They stand out in a crowd. Plumb, dumb, stupid, and then he used that derogatory word that I'm not going to use, or misshapen faces or bodies. They have no powers. They steal people for their curiosity, just plain curiosity. Return very few of them. Most times will kill so others don't find out about it. Taking humans is not permitted. We have around 60,000 missing over a 10-year period. These are unacceptable numbers. So, according to this letter that we got from somebody who's claiming to have been 40 years as a government official working with this stuff, it sounds to me like there could... I thought I heard like a growl as I stepped out of the truck. Did you hear that? And it sounded close. Let's go over here. Let's look around. So I finally decided to share that letter with you. I got over my, I don't like that word. I don't think we're alone up here. You keep getting my 6. I run every day or mountain bike or walk. Or I do something physical. And I just, I've been injured before. I got hurt in Iraq and spent 6 months in a hospital and was told I'd never be able to run without pain again. So being able to do it, having been able to come back from that kind of thing, and it's a blessing. Maybe I did take it for granted some in my youth, but every time I'm out there on the mountain bike or when I'm running, and I often pray when I do this, and I always thank my higher power, my understanding, for giving me the ability, the blessing to be able to do these things and to be fit and to be healthy. And so whatever, I don't know, I hate that word. But here's another reason I read you that letter. Something very strange happened last week. That was 2 weeks ago because my wife and son were with me. We like to take family walks, and we did a lot of them this spring. I would do my run in the mornings, because I only run 3 or 4 miles. It's not enough to tax me to where I can't go out in the afternoons and walk for like an hour to an hour and a half with my wife and kid. And that's how Dearly prefers to take her exercise, and it's healthy for our son. He's doing the virtual learning thing from home during the day, and so he gets out there, and then he and I play ball in the field and everything too. We're just a very active family. But we go to different parts of town whenever we go down there. We'll park somewhere and just walk. And one of our favorite parts of town to go, of course, is around the university. They call it the corner. There's some restaurants slash bars there where the college kids hang out. A couple super duper duper overpriced shops where, just in my opinion, vendors kind of prey on rich college kids, or mommy and daddy's going to pay those credit card bills for them or whatever. We've gone in there and we've looked at. No, I'm not all of them. And I buy my hats down there from Mincer's. We like that shop. That's not who I'm talking about. So anyway, we were down there about 2 weeks ago, and it was a beautiful, bright, sunny, warm spring day. The kind of day that when, especially in early spring, man, there's a ton of people out, at least in our, in Charlottesville, because they're out enjoying the weather. So we drove across the corner first en route to where we were going to park. And there were people everywhere. The sun was out. The places were packed. People were eating outside. And I said, man, look at all the people. So we went and we parked down the road a ways. And when we walked back up, we didn't come the same way where we had driven. We went through some of the back streets to just see different parts of town, of that area of town, because we like to mix it up so we're not always doing the same thing. That gets kind of boring. Thought I saw it. But did you see that? I'm going to stand right here for a while. So when we popped back into that area, the corner, we had passed it from behind, a couple blocks from behind. Popped back over. We're walking down, and everything seemed kind of gray. I didn't even notice it until after a few minutes later, but things were gray, and there were no people. It's like the street was entirely empty. We went into the CVS down there because Dearly wanted to ask if they sold cell phone cases, which they didn't. So we're getting ready to leave, and I said, Did you notice something weird out there before we came in the store? And she said, what? And I said, you remember all those people we saw everywhere when we drove through there? She said, yeah. I said, where did they all go? It's like they were gone. There wasn't anybody out there. And she said, yeah, that's weird. And it's like, how did everybody get finished eating all at the same time and get up and leave, or stop, deciding not to get another drink and get up and leave? So we leave the CVS, we walk out. The sun is back out. It's bright again. And there's people everywhere. And she said, oh, no, there's still people everywhere. See? And I said, well, yeah, they are, aren't they? That was really weird, wasn't it? And she said, yeah. And I said, do you think we might have just slipped through like a rip or a tear in the space-time continuum? And maybe somehow we were like in a different dimension when we walked down through here. And of course she laughed. She giggled. That's what she does. That's why we call her Giggly Girl. She told me I'm crazy, and she said I should make a video about that. And I said, well, I don't want to, because man, I can't really have people thinking I really am crazy. I mean, it's kind of like a moniker. It's a nickname. Picked it up in the Army. Stuck with me. But and I got that letter that I read to you. There's saved on my laptop. And I was singing about these things while I was talking to the wonderful, helpful gentleman at the IRS. Wow. There's a fence post here that has never been here before. And it's not in the ground. Look at this. that's just leaned up against a tree. It's an old, probably locust. So what do you think, guys? Down there on that corner, I've had this crazy idea about this tax issue that I am actively taking care of. And I ran it by this guy at the IRS today, and he thought it was genius. He said I should do it. I'm going to tell you guys my crazy idea. And I got the idea off of a guy in Washington, D.C. last November when my family and I were up there for a weekend to get, my wife and my kids' Filipino passports renewed at the embassy, the Filipino embassy. You see the guys on the streets with their signs. Well, this guy's sitting there with the sign. We go by, and it said, "I need money for alcohol and marijuana. Hey, at least I'm being honest." And I read it, and I laughed, and I said, "Man, thanks for your honesty." He says, "Hey, I ain't trying to lie about it." I said, "Man, I'd help you out, but I still owe the IRS some money from a few years back. I had a really couple good years and a couple bad years." He says, "I hear you, man." I was like, all right. But I like that guy's sign. And I started thinking, what if I made a sign? Because you go down there to the corner and you see some of these individuals with signs. And there's a couple other places around town. And I'm not going to go into detail with this. That's a sensitive topic. What I will say is we don't know everybody's story. Everybody has their own story, okay? So I'm not here to judge. But I thought, what if I made a sign that said, perfectly healthy, gainfully employed, anything helps pay my taxes? Because a lot of these guys' signs would just say, anything helps. Perfectly healthy, gainfully employed, anything helps pay my taxes. Heard like a howl in the distance. And I would dress nice. I would shave when I would go down there to hold up this sign. And I asked the guy at the IRS about that. And he said, "Man," he says, "I think that is ingenious." He said, "I think you'd make a small fortune if you did that." And then I said, "Well, would that be taxable?" And he said, "Yeah, it would." So it'd be kind of like, I'd be like when you're trying to get out of a hole by, digging the hole over here to pack the dirt up over here to stand up on the hole. But then the next time you go down, it's one of those things. So it's like, if I go down there and make a small fortune doing this in order to pay some of those back taxes from those couple good years that were followed by a couple of bad years, I might just cause myself an even bigger tax problem. I don't know. So, but I haven't ruled it out. I've not ruled it out. So I just don't know. So anyway, I was thinking about that too, because I was thinking about down there, that part of town, the corner, and I felt that day when we were down there taking that family walk, like we slipped through a portal. I didn't feel anything physically. I remember popping out around the corner. What had been a sunny, warm day was an overcast gray day, and what had been, a street and sidewalk filled with hundreds of people. This is down there at the University of Virginia. There are literally hundreds of people out down there on a beautiful day. They were all gone. Everything was gray. We went into that CVS. I even mentioned it to my wife, and then when we popped back out, it's like everything was back to the way it had been when we had driven through there. And then I get this letter up here from this guy that says he was, 40 years working in paranormal research for the government. Certainly a lot to think about. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I'm going to go get in and out of this rain. And I got some stuff inside the house I can do. Like read and take a nap. See you for more next time from here at the PBS. The potential Bigfoot Sasquatch show.